We back.
Hey. What up? Yo,
Hello.
I forgot to mention because this was so distracting, the first fight of the card. Did you see the first fight? It was Kennedy Nchukwu versus I forget the guy's name that he knocked out, but he knocked the guy out. But the thing that was so distracting was Keith Peterson looks like he melted away.
He's on that Ozempic.
What is that?
Ozempic, it's what all the celebrities in the Real Housewives are on. Basically, no, seriously. It's like, it's becoming a thing.
He's on a Real Housewife drug?
Yes. It's the new thing. So it's a shot that diabetics take to help them. And if you don't have diabetes and you take this shot, it basically like kills your appetite and speeds your metabolism up, and it makes everybody skinny. Like all the celebrities are dropping weight, all of the Real Housewives are dropping weight. Like everybody's taking this this magic shot, even though they don't need it, and it's just basically like a huge weight loss trend that everybody's using.
Okay. Well, I was worried because I was worried that
he's sick. No, he's just on that celebrity kick.
I was worried that he was getting so much shit from all those elbows to the back of the head or punches to the back of the head that poor Oliveira got while he was on his watch, that he was just not eating and depressed and back on his drugs and alcohol, like Dom said. I'm only eating
Keith.
cigarettes.
Poor Keith.
I'm never gonna eat food again, just cigarettes and alcohol.
No. I think he's trying to get slim for the pictures.
Dude, he looks so skinny right now. He looks like he melted away. Like he looks like a baked potato after you put it in the oven. You know what I mean?
Baked potato.
Yeah, just.
I think he looks less wrinkly and better than a baked potato.
You think so?
I do.
He definitely looks like he just lost a lot of weight, though.
It looks like he just saw himself on camera for the first time and was like, I need to make a change with my life.
I didn't think he was that big, though. It was just surprising to see him after, literally a week of him looking normal. He's like just tiny. It was wild. I'm like, did you go through a weight cut? Like, you haven't rehydrated yet, bud.
He just wanted to understand what we go through.
Yeah.
Connect with us on a different level.
That's a real one right there.
Right?
It's like, oh, yeah, those shots to the back of the head do hurt a lot more when you had no water in you for 24 hours.
Yeah, my bad.
Sorry.
My bad. Won't happen again.
I'll be on top of it next time.
Won't happen again.
Well, we got some cool fights coming up. But first, I want to talk about the news that got dropped this week in our weight class. They moved Dern versus Rebus to the first fight of the new year on a fight night, so in the Apex. But the huge news was that Suarez is now fighting Weili in February for the belt.
Crazy.
Do you think
I just don't know what happened.
Do you think Jandaroba found this news out before or after the pay-per-view announced it?
I saw her at the Fight Pass Invitational, and she looked very happy. And it hadn't been released yet, so I think, that smile probably turned upside down.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were saying that maybe she was, whenever I say a fighter looks happy, I just mean they're eating.
Well, no, she looked huge for sure. No, she's been eating everything. Those legs are fed.
Dang.
Those legs are fed.
Well, you say you saw Suarez too. Who's bigger outside of camp?
They're both surprisingly big.
Big girls. Yeah.
They're bigger girls. Like flyweights.
Generous.
But aren't they all? They all?
Very generous of you. I would have said something else. I would have said a different weight class. So that news got dropped this week. And Weili too. Weili is surprisingly big. I've seen her maybe 3 weeks before she was scheduled to fight, and even then she was carrying a lot of girth.
She looks like she walks around 145.
Yeah,
She looks big.
Yeah, so that's the upper echelon of the sizes of the strawweight division, which is why we need to add weight because we're drowning.
Seriously.
We're drowning. We all look like Aljo in there trying to beef up as much as possible.
See, I thought he looked pretty solid. I mean, it's hard to see him as anything other than a bantamweight.
Yeah.
You know, you just remember every time he steps into the cage as a flyweight. But I thought that he looked strong.
I think he looked strong, but there was definitely a size difference. Like Evlov,
like just build frame wise.
it looked like the difference between Battle and Brown. To me, where you can tell that there might be 7-8 pounds difference between them, and there's just a little more oomph in there. But so this fight is happening in the strawweight division. I wonder what happened with Virna or how they dropped the news, because Dana was a little cheeky about it in the post-fight press conference.
What did he say?
They asked, okay, what happened with the Virna fight? Did you guys move the Virna, or did you guys cancel the Virna versus Suarez fight in order to make the Suarez versus Weili fight? And he just goes, I don't know.
He knows.
Dana, just say it.
You're the boss. What can we say?
Where is she gonna go?
Yeah.
Who is she gonna complain to?
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go.
She just has to sit and take it.
Virna is stuck at number 2 for the rest of her life. Poor girl. Oh. Hey, I'll fight you. Let's go. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. So it's I feel bad for her because I felt like she actually did have a good chance, probably the best chance of upsetting Suarez, aside from the champion. But this fight is going to be one that we've been looking forward to for a long time. We've just been waiting for Suarez to work her way up. Luckily for Suarez, she didn't have to work her way up.
She just gets past that velvet rope. And I'm not saying that she hasn't earned it. She just had so many setbacks that we kind of wondered if she would ever get that opportunity. So I'm not mad at it. I like it because she's healthy. She's, training, and let's get her to the fight.
For now. She's healthy for now. What I worry about, though, and maybe this won't be a problem until there's a contender that has really emerged from the group of strawweights at the top, because right now there really isn't. It's only Suarez and Virna, but I think Suarez has a better case. It's just she didn't have to fight Virna in order to make that case, which I think is a little unfair. But at the same time, it feels like they didn't want to risk Suarez losing and then having a very clear candidate, clear star for the strawweight division because she lost to Virna. And we don't know how many times we'll be able to get her in there because she keeps getting injured and she's out for so long. But what I worry about is if Suarez wins, will anyone ever fight for the title again?
Sure.
Like, that's an automatic, okay, Suarez won the belt. Next title fight is going to be for the interim strawweight belt because there's a good chance she's not going to make it to the fight.
Well, if she's injured for long enough, they just take the belt away, as they tend to do.
I don't think for her. I mean, look back to when Rose didn't fight for a year or a year and a half. She was able to hold on to that belt for a long time. So I think as long as there's no one banging at the door, no one knocking the door down saying, hey, I have all these wins, I've been impressing, give me my shot, I think they'll be okay with her holding on to it.
Potentially. I mean, I understand why they want her to have that opportunity. She'd be a great champion. She's, very marketable, very likable. She has a great story. And she's a dominant fighter. So I understand why they would want that and why they're giving her that opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. Who do you think wins?
Only one way to find out. I mean, of course, I'm rooting for Tatiana. I think that she has, just a great game, and she's adapted to MMA very well. She's one of those wrestlers that transitioned her style very well to MMA. She's still learning how to put everything together with her hands, especially. So she'll have to be sharp for this fight and really take the fight and her game to the champion. She can't give her any space and opportunity with those strikes.
Yeah, and I wonder if Weili is going to go back to her striking ways, because recently we've seen Weili be more of a grappler in her fights. Obviously, the path to victory is going to be striking with Tatiana, but you wonder if you're going to be able to shut that off. Like, she's been training for years to grapple her opponents, and she's been successful with it, with Carla, with Lemos, with Zhang Yan. So how hard is it going to be to shut off that, like we were talking about with Rose versus Blanchfield? How hard is it going to be to shut off that, like, oh, it's time to shoot button when you're fighting someone that you definitely want to keep standing?
It'll be challenging, but I think that Weili is well-rounded and has a high enough fight IQ to do that. I'm sure that her camp and her will make the proper adjustments and figure out the best game plan for it, and I think she'll execute it. I think that what I've consistently seen from her is, executing her game plan well for her opponent.
Yeah, I wonder what happens with Virna too. Like, does she get just tossed to the side? Does she have to fight another contender match or prepare for one? Back in
line. Maybe she has the option, like, hey, you can either sit out or you can take another fight.
Yeah, and I wonder what happens with that. But yeah, we'll see what happens. The strawweight division is so kind of hit or miss. You don't have any real clear contenders that haven't already fought for the belt. I think if Suarez wins, though, then you have a lot of people at the top who are going to be rightfully in a good position to fight her. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out against someone who has definitely shown good grappling skill, who has shown that they're better than some of the better grapplers in the division, and they also have striking. So this is going to be a real tough test for Suarez, but like, she's been so dominant in the past. I feel like that momentum is definitely going to get her out of some hairy spots if there are any in the fight. Yeah, so that's going to be a fun one. But next week,
did you glitch?
I did.
I'm like,
why are we recording? What are we recording right now? But
we're going to talk about next week's fight card.
Next week we have Covington versus Joaquin Buckley, and we're going to give you guys some more what do they call
picks? It's all right. That's all right. I'm here for you.
It's been a long
girl.
Weekend.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
Been a long weekend.
You're telling me.
Okay, so let's start at the bottom and work our way up.
Oh my God, we're doing all of them?
We're going to do all of them. A lot of these picks are going to be very uneducated guesses.
So why are we doing them?
But there's a few that we know a little bit about. So let's talk about them.
Okay.
All right. First fight.
Sean Woodson and Fernando Padilla. I'm going for Sean Woodson.
That's the first one?
Yes.
I have
on the preliminary card. Oh, I'm just kidding. I didn't press the down button. All right.
There's a lot of prelims.
God damn.
That's a lot of
Might
fights.
as well have an early prelim card. Just make it their own.
You were mad when you thought it was 7 fights.
Jeez. What are we doing here? Where is this? Oh, my God. Freaking
Come on,
Miami.
rapid fire. We got
oh, my
this.
God. All right. Josephine Knutson and Piera Rodriguez.
Nuts on your chin.
Nuts on.
She's going to have to watch out for those nuts on her chin, because Piera Rodriguez is coming off of that headbutt accidental finish.
Oh, my God.
No
Crazy.
contest.
Yeah, crazy. How do you see this one going? Nutson's more known for her striking. Rodriguez, I see her going for the takedown.
Yeah.
Hopefully no headbutts this time.
Hopefully. I think Nutson's got this.
I think she can keep the range.
Yeah, and she's big, she's strong, she's like long. She's feisty on the feet too. I think if she starts fast, she can get things going and just be big enough to stop Piera from getting any leeway if it goes to the ground. Like, I feel like she could hold her at bay from what I've seen from Knutson in the past.
All right.
Yeah.
Moving up, we got Davey Grant and Raymond Tavares.
Okay. I don't know much about Raymond Tavares, but Davy Grant has such a weird, awkward style, and he could knock you the fuck out. Like, it's really cool to watch. We started using some of his combos in our camp because he does this weird, like, switch stance movement where he, like, comes in with something, but then he switches and throws, like, he changes his power side. It really just comes down on the person's head, and they never see it coming. Like, you can watch tape, you can prepare for it, but then when it happens in real time, something about the way he sets it up just makes it surprising the first time it lands on you. And he's gotten a couple good guys with it. Who was the guy that you said he knocked out?
You're gonna have to make me pull it back up again. Hold on. Hold. Please, thank you. So we have Davy Dangerous Grant.
And he's one of these guys who probably could have made big waves, but he wasn't able to be super active after he first appeared in the UFC radar on Tough. Yeah. I first found out about him back in 2020, and that's when he was like getting a couple of really crazy knockouts.
So he has a submission win over Rafael Sanso, who's a very good fighter. Yeah. He's beat... He has a KO punches over Luis Smolka. He's lost to Marlon Vera, Adrian Yanez, and he has a KO over Jonathan Martinez. I think that's his most notable win for me. That tells me that, you know, he's a great fighter. That's the only thing I knew about him.
Yeah, and his fight with Yanez was actually pretty close. Tony Weeks scored at 30-27 for Davy Grant, which a lot of people were upset about. But that was one of those fights where I was there live and I'm watching and I'm like, I think he might be winning all the rounds. And then the only person who agreed with me was Tony Weeks.
Oops.
But it goes to show you like how good Adrian Yanez is. Davy Grant gives people problems. So even though I don't know anything about Raymond Tavares, I'm going to go with Davy Grant on that one.
All right. Moving up, we have Miranda Maverick taking on Jamie Lee Horth. Horth is stepping in on kind of short notice, but she's coming in shape. She fought Petrovic in Canada. She got the win. And she is stepping in for Tracy Cortez. I've got to go with Miranda Maverick for this. Just, I've seen Horth's last fight. I know she's a solid fighter. She's tough. She'll try hard. But I just think Miranda Maverick, the trajectory of her skills, I think she'll, take her down, muscle her stronger, and probably get a submission.
Yeah, Maverick's really good. She's really good on the ground. She's good on the feet too. We haven't seen her super often recently, but whenever she comes out, she shows a new level of just her fight IQ and how strong.
She listens really well.
Yeah,
she listens very well.
One of her last wins was against Gianni Barboza, who is an excellent grappler, excellent judoka, and she was able to take her down and be heavy on top and win in a very decisive way. She has wins over Andrea Lee. Just a bunch of impressive people she's been able to beat up on. So I have Miranda Maverick on this too. She got that farm girl strength. She's strong.
Yeah, she looks strong as shit. Moving up, we have Miles Johns and Felipe Lima. Now, Miles Johns was supposed to take on Cody Garbrandt recently. Cody ended up having to pull out. That was going to be... Wait, he pulled out, right? They didn't actually fight.
Yeah, he pulled out and someone canceled. Came in.
Yeah,
short notice, I think.
So he fought Douglas Silva de Andrade and got a unanimous decision over him. So he's fighting Felipe Lima, who's 13-1. I don't know much about Lima, but I'm gonna go for Miles on this one.
Well, then
they're gonna love us in the comments.
I know, right?
They talk so much shit.
I think I remember his submission win against Muhammad Naimov, but Miles Johns is just he's an excellent fighter. He's fast. He reminds me of Demetrius Johnson.
Oh, does he?
And Wilson,
He
yes.
reminds me of Wilson.
He's a little mix. He's a little mix of the two, but he just blends everything together really well. He's really explosive.
And he's powerful.
Yeah, he's really powerful. And he's been putting it together better and better each time he gets out there. I feel like he's going to be ranked soon if he isn't yet. But yeah, I like this fight because he's fighting another person with a big record, new to the UFC, but still impressive what record, still poses some danger. But yeah, I got Miles Jones for that.
All right, finally, Sean Woodson and Fernando Padilla. My
there
God,
it
that
is.
took forever to get there. I'm going for Sean Woodson. This guy, just the way he's built for featherweight, is so freaking crazy.
It don't make no sense.
And he uses his range and his the leverage he gets from his height so well. It's really hard to move him. It's hard to take him down. And he has really good boxing. Lots of he has boxing experience.
Okay, yeah. He's really, uniquely built. Like, he looks like when your character glitches on, like, PlayStation 1. Like, he's so stretched out. He's so stretched out and thin, and I think it's hard to mimic that. Like, when you're fighting a Sean Woodson, you have to call from people from higher weight classes just to mimic the height, the reach, and all of that. So it's hard to game plan against him, and we've seen him eke out some close decisions too, just because of his range and because of the way it looks when you get hit by someone who's that big. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Sean Woodson too.
Yeah, it's just the most notable win was when he fought Jourdain in Canada. And I'm a huge Jourdain fan.
Yeah.
And that was Jourdain's, I think it was his last fight at featherweight before he moved down to bantamweight now.
Okay.
But
that was the one. That's going to be the fight
the
that tells you to go down a weight class when you're fighting
like, you know what?
Tall motherfucker like
that. Good. Moving up at lightweight, we have Joel Alvarez and Drakkar Klose. I'm going for Alvarez on this one.
Yeah, me too. He's on a tear, and Drakkar, he's been winning as well, but I don't know, something about Joel's like progression. He's beaten some really good guys. He submitted Mark DeCassie. He knocked out Elves Brenner, who was on a tear as well. So this fight with Drakkar Klose is going to be not that he can't win. He's gotten the upset before, but I definitely think he's going to be the underdog in this fight. It's going to be a tough test, though.
Yeah. All right, moving up, Michael Johnson and Ottoman Azaitar. Did I say that right?
Sure.
We'll pretend I did. This one looks like it's going to be a striking match, and I think Michael Johnson outboxes him. Michael Johnson is, former champ, great boxing, southpaw, super high. Just a really great veteran. He doesn't fight as frequently as he used to, but I think I'm going for the vet in this fight. What are you doing?
Yeah.
He's trying to use the green screen as a blanket.
Yes. I agree. I'm going for Michael Johnson. He has been kind of hit and miss in his last handful of fights. Yeah. But his opponent has just gotten knocked out in the last two. You can tell they're kind of throwing him a bone. His opponent's Ottoman's last win was actually on a card that I headlined in 2020, Hill versus Watterson. So I think Ottoman is probably coming back to get beat up. Michael Johnson is definitely someone who can do it. A lot of his recent losses, too, he's been just owning the guy in the first few minutes, and then just a slip up, something happens, and he ends up losing the fight, getting rocked, something like that. So I have Michael Johnson for this one. I think just the level that he still operates at, even this late in his career, he's going to be able to beat up on someone like an Ottoman.
Gotcha.
Put his feet up on him.
Well, this main card it's a big main card. My God. Navajo Sterling taking on Tuco Tokos. I
Ooh.
am going for him just because of his name.
Tuco Tokos!
At light heavyweight. I don't know much about these guys, honestly.
This is gonna be like the quote from the from the show.
I told you I
don't know much about these
I don't
guys,
know much about him.
But this is what I think.
You know what? I spoke my piece and said that we should just do, the 3 fights and then pick a few.
Did you say that?
I did.
When did you say that?
I said it before we started recording.
Oh, sure.
I did.
Before we started recording.
I did.
How
you wanted to do
convenient.
it anyways.
How convenient.
All right, so this one, flip a coin, guys.
We're both going for Tuco Tokos because of the cool name. Tuco Tokos.
Adrian Yanez versus Daniel Marcos. Now, we just interviewed our friend Charles Rosa after his big win at Gamebred FC, which is bare knuckle MMA, and he spoke very highly about his roommate Daniel Marcos, who's 16-0 in the UFC. It's very impressive. He's definitely on the up. Somebody to watch for. So I think I'm going to root for him. And it's not just because he's Rosa's friend.
Your boy.
But not just because he's my boy's boy, but because this guy has nasty striking. Nasty knees in the clinch. He's really creative with his knee strikes, too. I think you would really like him if you haven't seen his fights.
No, I remember watching him fight, and he looks like a monster to deal with. But someone who can deal with a monster like that is Adrian Yanez.
Absolutely.
He definitely has that touch of death that you don't see that much in the lower weight classes, but he possesses it. He is just coming off of a knockout versus Vinicius Salvador, and that was on a card that I fought on. So it's cool to see the prospects meet each other. Yanez has dropped a couple since he's gotten a lot of fame for his boxing as well. But there is one point where people are saying Yanez has the best boxing in the UFC. So this is going to be a fun test to see who actually can come out on top as a striker, who might end up mixing everything up. Part of me, I don't know, man. I'm going to go with Yanez for this one. He's also trained by Yves Edwards, who is just a legend in the game. So I like what they've been producing with their gym, with their fighters coming out of there. And I think we're split on this one. I'm gonna go with Yanez.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I think this could be a really breakout fight for one of them. Like it's up for grabs, and I think that it could definitely be like a highlight reel fight and something that could take their career upwards.
Let's see it.
Yes.
Only one way is up, baby.
Vitor Petrino and Dustin Jacoby. This one is at light heavyweight. Again, this is I'm familiar with Jacoby, but not very familiar with Petrino. Petrino just beat Anthony Smith. I did see that one.
We just lost to Anthony Smith.
Oh, sorry. He just lost to Anthony Smith, and then he beat Tyson Pedro. So I think for this one, I'm going to... This one's hard. I'll go for Jacoby. Jacoby has good striking. I was rooting for him against Dominic Reyes, and Dominic Reyes, this was his comeback fight.
Okay.
And he got a big knockout for this one. But it doesn't take away from Jacoby's skill, so I think I'm going for Jacoby in this one.
Okay. Petrino seems to be a submission artist. I just learned that by looking at his typology. So I'm gonna go with Petrino. I don't know. I feel like Petrino could get it. I think he could get it. All right, who's next?
We have Manel Kopp and Bruno Silva.
Oh, I love me some Starboy.
I know. You know what? He's just a dangerous striker. I got to agree with you on this one.
Yeah, I got Starboy. Bruno Silva, he's coming off of a knockout versus Cody Durden, but he was getting his ass handed to him in that fight before that happened. They were also ex-teammates, so I feel like you have more of a puncher's chance against someone that you're familiar with. And Bruno Silva was able to take take advantage of one slip up with dirt and knock him out. But Manel Kape, I don't see him making as many mistakes. Like, he was able to survive against Micheal before he got cut. He always has that puncher's chance. The only thing is Kape can wait a little too long.
A little bit too long.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. So one thing that you did see in the Silva fight was that he had that endurance. He has like that cardio, that just ability to end the fight in the last round. So he's gonna have to keep his P's and Q's up. But I got Kape in this one.
All right, next we got Cub Swanson, an always fan favorite against Billy Carntillo. And this one is at featherweight. So Cub tried his hand at bantamweight. I think that's just, he's a big, strong friend for featherweight. So bantamweight was probably awful to try and make.
Oh my gosh.
Even though he probably had the help of the PI and all the nutritionists and stuff like that.
I mean, he looked healthy.
He did.
Sometimes
just because you can make it doesn't mean it's your weight class.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's fine.
Yeah. I think that they always try and give Cub Swanson challenges, but favorable matchups just because he's such a fan favorite.
Yeah.
He's done really well marketing himself. So who you got in this one?
I'm gonna go with Cub. He gets to upset a lot against the young up and comers, the people who haven't quite figured out their style yet. His last loss was a KO versus Jonathan Martinez, but since then he's beaten Hakeem Dawodu. It was a controversial decision, but he still won. He was still in there the entire fight, and then he also beat Andre Philly. I'm not sure that one was controversial too, but if anything, he has the luck of the judges on his side. So that's always going to be something when you have a fight that could possibly go to decision. And I think with the Quarantillo fight, I feel like that's going to go to decision. I don't think he has enough like devastating unpredictability to give Cub Swanson something he hasn't seen before.
Yeah, I agree.
So I got Cub.
I got Cub too. And then in the main event, we have Colby Covington and Joaquin Buckley. I got to go for Buck on this one.
Yeah, let's go Buck. Buck versus the Duck. Is that what he said?
Is that what he said? Buck versus the Duck. I mean, Colby Covington is a monster, but, as of late, I think that Joaquin Buckley has just been on point.
Dude, he can't be stopped. Recently.
The way he has made people look in his last outings, like with Wonder Boy, with Luke, he has just made them look in a way that nobody else has been able to.
Yeah.
He's given them challenges and problems and shown dominance against them where other people have failed.
Yeah, no, for sure. There, even the Ruziboev fight, which I was really nervous about. Like, I watched tape for that one. I was just like, ooh, this guy is he's
scary.
His kicks come out of nowhere. Like, Buckley can come in with his hands low sometimes to get the big power on his punches when he loads. And I was really worried about those two moments connecting at the wrong time for Buckley and stopping the fight. But his defense was so sound. He was so like calculated in his ability to buddy.
I know.
He's like, why are you still recording?
Oh my God, if you guys could see his face right now, my heart is melting.
Maybe I'll pop it in.
Take a picture.
Pop it in. Butcher. Okay, of course you stop when I get the camera out.
You just did it. Do it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, but Buckley has just looked like an evolved. We keep saying evolved this episode, but he looks like such an evolved version of himself from the guy who got the big kick knockout against Impa. So it's really cool to see this trajectory that his career has gone, and he has this crazy streak. I think he can continue it for sure against someone like Colby Covington, who kind of shows up as the same fighter every time he comes out there. Like, Colby figured out a formula, and you know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of cardio. You're going to get somebody who pushes that takedown and really tries to wrestle you down and keep you down and grind you out in a fight. And I just think that Buckley's going to give him a really hard time with that. He's so explosive, so powerful, so fast. And he has, the ability to take the fight anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And he gave us his secret move, which we cannot talk about. But, oh boy,
if it happens.
If he lands that move, I don't think there's going to be one person not on the Buckley train.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that fight. I think he has a really good fight IQ when it comes to figuring out opponent's weaknesses and trying to capitalize on it. We saw it in the Wonder Boy fight. It almost looked chaotic, but he was working towards that punch that he was able to land up against the fence. And it was really nice to see someone be able to dismantle someone like Wonder Boy, who's so tricky for a lot of people. So Buckley definitely is coming in with something a little special, and he has another veteran to prove himself against, and I think he could do it.
Yeah.
So we got Buck in the main event, and it should be a fun card. This is the last one of the year, right? Or is there one more?
No, I think this is
no. Yeah, this is the last card of the year. Yeah. People show out. Like, this is the last chance to be like, oh, best submission of the year, best knockout of the year, best fight of the year. So people usually go crazy, and Christmas is coming up, so everyone wants to get
that bonus.
Yeah, a little extra gifts under the tree for their kids. Well, yeah, that's gonna be fun. We'll see you after that show, and then we won't have any fights until.
But it's okay. We're not gonna leave you. We still have plenty to talk about.
We'll be here. We'll be here. There should be lots of drama, lots of MMA stuff to talk about. Tell us in the comments what you guys want us to focus on during the holidays. If it's a series, if it's like technique videos, and whatever. Let us know what you want us to hit on, especially when we don't have any fights, and we will appease you as much as possible. Maybe Jess will tell you some of her crazy Vegas stories.
This is why I don't share anything with her. Then she just does this.
Maybe you'll get a special story from the lockbox of Jessica Penne.
Oh my goodness. You.
You'll have to go to the comments and ask for it. We'll see how nice she is. How generous Santa Jess will be this year.
Only if they're really nice.
Hey.
And we get like 100 subscribers.
Ooh, yeah.
Or joiners.
Join us. Join us for Christmas. And yeah.
And tell your friends.
Yeah, and tell your friends. And buy a t-shirt.
Buy a t-shirt.
We got a few sales, so buy more. And then we'll
make sure you take pictures and tag us so that we can share those, because we can't wait to see them on you.
I know. We can like green screen ourselves in there hanging out with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can. I'll just take the credit.
You're allowed to be in the Photoshop too. I won't discriminate.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, this has been another Two Straws.
See you soon.
Bye.